Well, speaking of earlier this week, the NCAA sanctions against USC came to really what was a quiet end. Now Sark and his staff and his players are still going to have to deal with the fallout for some time, but the Trojans are free and clear of the following penalties that were levied upon a previous regime for previous transgressions. And that's something to always keep in mind. I mean, you think about it, 4 years probation, they had a 2-season bowl ban, 30 scholarships. That was the big one, 30 scholarships in 2012, 13, and 14. And of course, you vacate wins, and Reggie Bush had to give back his Heisman. But really, it's been the scholarships you look at in terms of the things that really caught USC. Then you look at some of the other programs that have been hit with NCAA sanctions over the last few years. You have Ohio State. Remember the $14,000 in cash and tats exchanged for autographs. Miami, the Nevin Shapiro situation, where they had self-imposed 2 years of postseason ban for themselves. And then Penn State, of course, the Jerry Sandusky fiasco. Robert, are we talking about an equitable punishment here for SC when you look at some of the other schools that have been hit on with sanctions over the last few years?
Well, all of the details of these cases are different, first of all. And I think whenever you're dealing with these investigations, it's not what you know or what you think that you know, it's what you can prove. And I think when you talk about the scale of what happened at USC, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in benefits here. So if the
a lot of money for one player.
I know it's one player, but here's the thing:
one player.
If you're getting benefits that far exceed what the guys that are investigating you make for a living, I mean, it's probably going to end up being a little bit more harsh. Was it on the harsh side? Absolutely.
30 scholarships.
30. It's harsh, but it's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
One player.
It's one. I know where you are on this.
And it was money that was being given to a player to encourage him to leave, not to stay. I think the most egregious circumstances are where coaches or boosters representing a school give a player money to come or stay. The most egregious circumstances are those in which the institution receives a dramatic competitive advantage.
Is it an
but it's also that favorite phrase, lack of institutional control. And if you know about it, if you should have known about it, and you're talking about a period of time where all of these benefits are being given for the family and the rent and all that stuff, if it's going on for that period of time, how do you send that message another way? I'm not saying
well, they were trying to send a message.
I don't know if 30 is appropriate, maybe 15 or 20 is appropriate. I'm not exactly sure, but I know that they're not. It's just not the same thing as what happened at Ohio State, Miami, and Penn State.
But if it's a lack of institutional control, the institution doesn't have control, whether it's $100,000 or $14,000 or in the Nevin Shapiro case, strippers or what. Like, if they don't have control, they don't have control, regardless of how much money or what.
If you want to talk about lack of institutional control, the Miami case was a lack of institutional control. When you talk about the number of athletes, the number of years, the wide varied types of extra benefits.
But they're not talking about the jailhouse confessions of Nevin Shapiro. They're talking about what can we prove actually happened, not just what this guy said and how many players he said that he dealt with.
True.
It's what you can prove.
True, and it wasn't proven to this day, to my knowledge, that head coach Pete Carroll or any of the coaches had extensive knowledge while the
McNair's case is still going on, isn't it? He's sued the assistant.
That's Todd McNair, the former running backs coach. We should note that one judge in an ongoing lawsuit ruled that the NCAA in this case was, quote, malicious, over the top, and directed toward an outcome. So at least one judge believes that the NCAA went far beyond what they should have.
You're choosing your words carefully.
I am choosing my words carefully because you know how it is. It's like going around any office. You know, you have 50 people in an office, 60 people in an office. You're going to get a different answer for every one of them. And people say justice is blind. Well, you know, justice tends to be meted out by different people differently. And one judge saying that doesn't make it.
And they show them. The Committee on Infractions. Now let's keep in mind the enforcement staff gathers the evidence. A group of folks who are athletic directors and commissioners and lawyers, they determine the punishments. For years, and you would have to agree with this, Robert, they were wildly inconsistent. It was essentially throwing darts at a board. Well, the enforcement staff has been imploded, and there are now at least a structure of guidelines. We can only hope that they'll be a little more consistent. You will never see a penalty in the next 25 years, you will not see a penalty like the one USC just.
Well, I think we also have to think about what they're thinking about with punishment. You know, part of it is punitive to punish the school. Part of it is preventative. You're trying to make sure that that action doesn't happen in the future.
Yeah, and the other thing to look at too, just when you think about it, USC's come out of this okay though, despite the 30 scholarships. Now that's going to hurt them a little ways down the road, but they look okay right now in terms of where they are as a program. Ohio State as well.
Give Lane Kiffin
even Penn State right now where they are.
If the intent is to decimate and cripple, the NCAA has not been successful.
Give old Coach O some credit too. Last year.